I'm Brendan Hack in Bird City, Kansas, and this is the Tri-State Antique Engine and Threshers Association's annual show. We've been doing this about 56 years now. And I'm standing beside a 1660 under Mount Avery steam engine. This engine would have been used for thrashing of grain and sod busting back in the early 1900s.
We're in Bird City, Kansas. We're getting ready for our annual Antique Engine and Thresher Show. And I'm standing in front of one of our more rare items. It is one of the first self-propelled combines that was ever built. It was built in 1922 by Caterpillar Holt. And it was one of the first two built, and it was shipped to this area in McDonald, Kansas, to the Anholtz brothers. This is the Caterpillar Holt engine. It is a four-cylinder engine. Does a good job of pulling the machine. You can see the waterworks. Here's the fan. Keeps the engine cool. This is I would guess, in the vicinity of about 4-foot tall steel wheel on one side of the combine, and the other side, the drive side, is a track, like off of a Caterpillar. You can see it underside. And then all of the gearing, it takes a lot of chains, and all of this wood, there isn't a knot in any of the wood on this 1922 Caterpillar Holt. This is the chain drive, the track drive on the drive side of the 1922 Caterpillar Holt. It's very unique in the point, if you look at, I don't know how many different sizes of a chain are on this, but there are many different sizes. These engines, probably in the vicinity, in the operating condition that they are in, are probably 30.
Known as the belt wheel, we will take horsepower off of the engine proper through this wheel, run a flat belt about the width of this face here to drive our separators, our sawmills, our dynamometers, whatever we wanted to turn as a remote device. This engine is rated at approximately 50 horsepower. That's going to depend on boiler steam pressure and size of the piston in our 5 horsepower case. Case a very popular engine in this country, mainly because it was designed to be a drawbar engine. Where other engines are more thrashing or stationary power plants that were self-propelled, this was actually designed to pull plows without doing damage to the engine itself. This is a 1916 50 horsepower case steam engine, single cylinder. And as I was saying, the pressure determines horsepower on these engines. This reciprocating steam engine and a series wound electric motor are the two forms of motive power that we have today that will provide you instantaneous maximum torque. Basically what that says is our torque curves are flat on these engines. As soon as they turn, they are making their maximum torque. This has got a 9.5 inch bore and an 11-inch stroke inside this cylinder here. Power is transmitted to the crosshead, to the connecting rod, to the crank disc through the crank pin. These are reversible engines. They will run in both directions. That is dependent upon the position of the reversing lever, which is the one you can see right here. Forward, the top of the engine rolls over. Backwards, top of the engine rolls backwards. Up here in the operator station, we have all of our controls for administering fuel to the fire, controlling the amount of air we allow into the fire, controlling the direction and speed of the engine, whether or not we want the tractor to move with the engine or stay stationary, adding water to the boiler, and one other control that allows me to remove water from the cylinder. Since water is not a compressible item, I need to remove it, and water will condense up front in that piston and in that cylinder when it's stationary. So if I come to this engine after it's been warmed up, I need to allow that water to escape before rolling it over, and I can use this control to operate some valves in the bottom of the cylinder. Penberthy water injector, steam injector. It's how we pull water out of our bunkers and place it into the boiler using the pressure and the steam within the boiler to do so. The injector will have a feed steam line that we will blow through a venturi, which will create a low pressure area and draw the water out of the bunker. And then by the inertia of the water moving, that extra force is sufficient to overcome our original boiler pressure that we were using to feed the water into the boiler. Plural production, it's a cultivator tractor. Power on the front wheels, you steer it by the front wheels, you have a single rear wheel that will caster in all directions, and you'd mount a 2 or 4 row cultivator on this piece of angle iron right here. That way you could sit up here on this seat and watch exactly what you were doing in the field.